welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is a podcast host too and the author of the book, The Seven Basic Wealth Strategies, no other than Mr. Victor Idoko. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Victor, and can you please introduce more about yourself? Hello, test Mike. Mr. Victor, can you please introduce more about yourself? Mr. Victor, I think Mr. Victor is disconnected. While I'm waiting for him, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in its fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 and Love Letters in third season, and my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, and Movie 101 review, as well as a Music 101 and its fourth season. So please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Victor, are you ready now? I think there's something wrong with our uh, connection. So people, please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. And of course, I'm inviting you to. Oh, Mr. Victor is here. Mr. Victor,
Yes.
can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yes. So I am Victor Idoko. I'm a financial planner based in Australia. I have been helping people build wealth and, manage their money for almost 10 years now. And recently wrote a book, Seven Basic Wealth Strategies for a More Rewarding and Fulfilling Life. So really excited to explain how the book can help people and, what I do for people.
Mr. Victor Idoko, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. Can you briefly walk us through the core idea behind the seven strategies?
Yeah, exactly. So you look, the core ideas between around each strategy is those are just seven things that everyone needs to be looking at. Everyone needs to be putting in place, so that way they have the right foundations to build wealth. Most people they might focus on one or two aspects, but it's really essential to look at all aspects, so that way you can have a really strong foundation to build the wealth and get to the level you want to get to.
Interesting indeed, Mr. Victor. And how do you define wealth in the context of rewarding and fulfilling life?
Yeah, very good question. So, in terms of wealth, generally, why we've put it that way is to ensure that people should understand that wealth is not just about money you make, but it should also be about your health and your relationships. So, if you're ticking all those boxes and you have strong health, relationships, and a certain amount of wealth, life is amazing. So I know the context around the wealth here is to ensure that people are getting wealth for them to live the life they want and not just having a certain amount in the bank account. So that's where the rewarding and fulfillment comes from.
Yes, indeed. So, Mr. Victor, what makes your approach to wealth building different from other financial advice books?
Yes, very good question. So basically, it's just us trying to incorporate health and wealth. Like in one of the chapters, I think the very last chapter, I talked about how you can build $1 million on an average income. But towards the end of that, it was caveated by saying, well, you should definitely speak to, the loved ones around you to ensure they're comfortable with that, because with that, doing that on an average income really means that you're foregoing lots of joy, you're foregoing lots of time, or holidays with the loved ones. So it's really essential to for people to understand that wealth is not just a fragment by itself, but wealth should be looked at in terms of the whole person.
Totally agree with you, Mr. Victor. And which of the seven strategies do you think people overlook or underestimate the most?
Yeah, I think people underestimate the biases. Okay, so in chapter 2, I spoke about different types of biases, and these are just call them blind spots, call them lack of knowledge that people do not have in certain areas. So I think that's the biggest one where people overlook, because if you grew up in a family where wealth was seen as a bad thing, you have some biases towards wealth. So you might be self-sabotaging, you might be doing things that don't actually allow you build wealth. So it's very essential for people to understand, okay, what are your biases? Why do they think in certain ways? Was that brought up because of the way they grew up? Was that brought about because of the friends they have, or just their experiences? So learning to fix those biases can really help you, supercharge your wealth growth.
Mr. Victor, how can someone with little to no financial background begin applying these strategies?
Yeah, so the first thing would really be to educate themselves a lot more. Really understand, okay, what is money? How should you manage money when it comes in? As I said, what are your biases? Okay, how can you start investing even with the little amount you want? Understand things like inflation. So I'll say it's really around education, learning to know what's out there and getting the education from the right sources, because I know there are lots of sources out there that educate people, but they might not have the knowledge or expertise to do that. And that's one of the reasons I wrote the book as well, because look, I've studied finance for the last 16 years. I've been helping people for almost 13 years now in money management, but financial planning just under 10 years. So I do understand a lot about money. So it's teaching people just the basics they need to actually get started.
Indeed, the right information, like the book of Mr. Victor. Is this book more focused on financial wealth, or does it explore emotional and lifestyle wealth as well?
We don't dive too much into emotional lifestyle wealth, okay, because the book is more about for people to understand just the basics of financial wealth, but it's definitely letting them know that they need to think about that aspect. Going back to what I just said, I don't think I'm an expert in the emotional wealth category, because to me that should be a life coach or a psychotherapist. So I felt like I shouldn't be writing too much about that, but it is mentioned because it's really important for people to think about that aspect when they're also trying to figure out their financial wealth.
Mr. Victor, can you share a personal experience that helped shape one of these strategies?
Yeah, so the investing strategy was an important one to me. I think that was in chapter 4. So one of the key things there for me was when I was younger. I used to help my dad open a few checks. Okay. And that really shaped my thinking around money, because he said, okay, well, he's giving someone money and someone is giving him back a little bit more over time. So all of a sudden, from a young age, I knew straight away that you could do that. I knew that there was something out there that you put money in, it gives you back, and it can grow over time. So personally, that was what really shaped my understanding of wealth, or the foundations. And then as a young kid, because that's probably when I was 5, 6, 7 ish around, I didn't really know what it meant. But later on, going back to my first memory about wealth or building wealth, that's definitely the first one.
Yes, interesting, Mr. Victor. What common habits or belief keep people from building lasting wealth?
Yeah, so I think the main belief there is they feel they need a lot to start. Okay, that's one. And for other people as well, it might just be a imposter syndrome, where they feel they cannot get to that amount of wealth that they want personally, just because maybe no one around them has ever done it. They always see that maybe on TV, or a distant friend, so they feel that they cannot do it. So I think those are the things that actually hold people back.
What's one practical step a reader can take today to begin their wealth journey?
Yes, yes. The best and biggest one is don't spend more than you earn. It's just that simple. You know, it's a simple theoretical concept, but I know in practice it can be hard. So that's why if you're not good with your spending plan or your cash flow, you should get rid of things like credit cards. Get rid of things like buy now and pay later, because you're spending money you don't have yet. As soon as you can put that under control, the ability to invest and then grow wealth in other ways would be a lot easier.
Yes, indeed, lots easier if you follow the seven basic wealth strategies. What's one practical step a reader can take today to begin their wealth journey?
Yeah, so I'd say that practical step would be saving and investing. Okay, so those are just simple things, and as these days, the platforms out there where you can start investing with as little as $10. So most people, you would have up to that amount. So you want to start investing and then start increasing your knowledge and or your understanding of the market, so that way you can invest a lot more later on and be confident as to what you're doing.
How do you balance the pursuit of wealth with the importance of fulfillment and well being?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a is an interesting question, and it really depends on the person. Some people have a lot more energy, so they can really, chase both aspects aggressively. While as others don't have as much energy, so they may not be able to chase as much wealth and fulfilling or chase as much wealth and their well-being at the same time. So it's really important to one, know yourself, going back to the biases and knowing your abilities, and then just balance it. Balancing is very subjective, so it's very hard to give people a ratio. But what that means is, speak to people around, ensure your loved ones know what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve, and some would just generally support you, some wouldn't, and that's just the way it is. But the main thing is communication with loved ones. Ensure you are taking care of yourself. I think fitness has helped me a lot to kind of go a little bit longer and stronger in times that I didn't feel like. So I think fitness is a good thing as well that can really help people stay the long term in their investing journey, in their ability just to be content as well.
Very well said, Mr. Victor. Very well said. What role do mindset and discipline play in achieving lasting wealth?
Yeah, so discipline is a very huge one, because most people without they may fall off their budget from time to time. Okay, and the discipline actually comes in getting back on and staying on longer versus, saying you're never going to fall. They're just things that happen. Like for someone that hasn't built an emergency funds and then a bill comes up and they have to pay that, you're probably going to fall off your budget. But then the ability to get back on and stay on longer, that is where discipline is very essential. Discipline is very essential as well for investing. Okay, so the discipline to invest when the market is going down, the discipline to keep investing even though when you haven't seen the returns in the short term. So I'll say discipline plays a huge role in just all the basic wealth strategies which are spoken about, because there's just discipline needed to get to where you want to get to. And one thing I'll add there as well, discipline can actually be learned. So it's not something uh, it's not something that you have to be born with. Okay, it's something that you can learn over time. So in my opinion, it takes a lot longer for some people, but everyone should be able to just learn discipline around your money, discipline around your wealth creation strategies.
How do you advise people to manage setbacks or financial failures?
Yeah, so setbacks and financial failures. I think one thing people just need to know straight away. Everyone goes through that. So even me myself as a financial planner who has dealt with wealth for a long time, we still go through financial setbacks. Okay, so once people understand, okay, well, it's not something that would totally stop you from getting to where you want to go to in terms of your wealth journey, they feel a lot more comfortable. Okay, so one is the awareness that look, it happens to everyone, and that's where the discipline comes to actually get back on and keep going, so you can get to the destination you want to get to. So the main thing for people there is like, just know everyone goes through it, and try get back on as soon as you can.
Well, thank you for your advice, Mr. Victor. And as an author and a podcast host, what will be your short term and long term goals?
Yeah, so for me, my short-term goals are just to be able to grow the firm and also be able to provide lots of financial literacy out there, so people kind of get the right information from the right sources. I think the book is a key example of that. You know, I think it's a universal book. Only one of the chapters really talk about superannuation account, which is very Australian centric, but the rest of the chapters are very, very applicable across the world. You know, so short-term goals is to provide as much financial literacy as we can. Long-term goals is to be able to offer financial advice internationally. Right now, we just do that in Australia. We may do a few international consults, okay, just to help people with the basics. But in terms of what we want to do long term, we definitely want to be able to help people all around the world to create wealth, get to where they want to get to.
Mr. Victor, do you incorporate ideas like passive income, entrepreneurship, or investing in your strategies?
Yeah, so in the book, you know, when the way I started one of the chapters around investing was the biggest investments you can make is in yourself, okay? Because your ability to earn and the ability to then transfer that earnings to savings really depends on your personal human capital. You know, so I always encourage people to, yes, if they feel they can be an entrepreneur, they should go for it, because that's one of the ways you can create a massive amount of wealth. And if you like being an employee as well, that's fine. You can grow and you can climb up the ladder and then grow so you can earn a little bit more. And all that really comes down to human capital. You know, so those are the key things that I tell people about personal growth. Okay. And then in terms of passive income, yes. So look, investing should be passive if you're not a day to day, if you haven't done this for a long time. You know, so you definitely want to set something up that you just put it there, you put a certain amount every month or every fortnight, and then it just works for you. Because if you get into the idea that you want to trade or you want to do this full time, but you don't have the skills, there's an opportunity cost for doing that. That opportunity cost is you not earning as much as you can be earning in something else, which you can then save and have more passive income. So it's very important for people to understand that. I call that comparative advantage, which I actually mentioned in the book as well.
Mr. Victor, how can someone maintain motivation and consistency while building long term wealth?
Yeah, very good one. This comes down to the first chapter where you need to set a goal, you know, and generally that goal as well, you want to try and make it as emotive as possible. Okay. So for someone in their 30s and 40s, they might be trying to build wealth for themselves and their family. Okay. So if you tie your goal around building, I'll just say $1 million for yourself and your family, uh, the emotional part there is the family, and then it actually gets you going and it keeps you staying strong even when you don't want to, you know, especially if you have kids or loved ones, you know, just looking at them and giving them, just looking at them and then seeing that this is the reason you're doing that is very important as well. Yeah.
Mr. Victor, what kind of feedback or success stories have you been heard from readers who've applied your strategies?
Yeah, so the readers have actually really loved the book because they've said it's very practical, and that was the idea. We were trying to make it practical so people can say, okay, well, I need to X, Y, Z, and that would make my life a lot better. Because I didn't want to write something that was too theoretical and couldn't be applied. You know, so the practicality from our reviews is what we've gotten, is what people have said has been the biggest impact of the book.
Congratulations for that, Mr. Victor. Hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come out. Before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do visit my Book 101 merchandise, because we believe on Book 101, read it, wear it, live it, and that's the Book 101 way. If you're looking for mags or shirts and hats, name it, and we have it on Book 101 merchandise. So please visit our Book 101 review merchandise. So, Mr. Victor, one for my last question. If readers walk away with only one lesson from your book, what do you hope it is?
Yes. So the biggest lesson is almost a cliche, but it is don't spend more than you're earning. Just don't do it because you won't build enough wealth that way. I always use the examples. There's lots of celebrities that have run out of money, and it was just because they were spending more than they're earning, but they were also earning a lot.
Yes, people learn from Mr. Victor Idoko because if you follow him for sure, you will building a lasting wealth. Mr. Victor, again, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your podcast and the 7 basic wealth strategies?
Amazing. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yes, indeed. So, where do you usually buy your books or your books, Mister?
Yes, so the book is available on Amazon, which is good. So if you just jump onto Amazon, wherever you are in the world, and you type in 7 basic wealth strategies by Victor Idoko, that would come up, and then you can have your copy shipped to your doorstep. We are also on Audible as well. So for the listeners out there that love listening, you can get a copy on Audible as well.
Yes, indeed. How about your podcast, Mister?
Yes, so my podcast is called Elevate Your Wealth, and we are on all streaming platforms. So feel free to jump on your favorite streaming platform and listen to our episodes there.
Yes, Mr. Victor Hidalgo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Vodka people, see you soon.